this is the stuff that me and one of my friends built. Reaper over here, he built this for me. I invited him to the world and he built something here. It was so dope. It's a laboratory. I think it's really sick looking. Probably the best thing in this world. It's dope. And I'll put his channel in the description since I play with him all the time on Overwatch and all that. And it's shown through my videos, but he built that, which is dope. I expanded the brick house to try and make like a little how what's it called? Like the people on ships who are on top of like the mast, I guess, and there's the place where they look with the telescopes, not telescope, damn, I'm terrible with names, holy shit. But yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like that. And I don't know why I built it on ground when there's water right there, but whatever. And then I built a Port Johanna, and this is basically where, like I said, it's a port, so most of the ships are going to be coming by here. And I want to plan to do something with this, with the water and all that, make something cool, but that's for later. And over here is an unfinished project. I'm probably gonna, or an unfinished project, excuse me, that I'm gonna finish today or some other time. But yeah, so romance done, the beginning of the story of One Piece, the start of it all. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say this arc isn't like it's the beginning of the show, you know, so it's not gonna be anything crazy, but it was enough for me to get some enjoyment out of the show and be like, all right, I'm gonna stick with this. I'm gonna see where the show goes, because the introduction, the main character literally shows up in a barrel on a ship and then beats up like an overweight woman, an overweight pirate. Let's just call her that. And he saves a kid named Kobe. He the pink-haired boy that becomes a literal demon, a little god type beat later on in the show, but that's for later. Those two leave the ship, and then they meet, what's it called, Zora, which is the captain of the pirates and all that. And so we already have two characters on like 5 episodes, which is lit. And then we meet Nami. We see Buggy for the first time, which is amazing. We get all the story with that. And then we get to meet Usopp with his story, which is honestly probably the worst story out of like all of the introductions that we're gonna see in Romance Dawn. But it wasn't like insufferable. It was mediocre, I guess. It's the best way for me to describe it. And then there's Sanji's story with Baratie. Oh my god, sorry, I'm illiterate, crazy. Then there's Sanji's story with Baratie, or Baratie, whichever one. And his, honestly, for me, was my favorite. Whether that's because of my Sanji bias, because he's my favorite character, or because I thought it was a good story, that's up for people to decide. But I honestly generally enjoyed the story because it's set up for Arlong Park, which I thought was really cool, since it shows that Oda knew what he was what he was doing with Nami ever since the beginning when she was introduced. So I just thought it was really cool. And then, like I said, there's Arlong Park, which is probably like the best part of Romance Dawn, but not my favorite for many reasons. Because of the arc actually coming up next, and it's Loguetown. Loguetown for me is my favorite arc because it does so much. Like, it does so much in like the short span that it's here, but it's so good. Oh, what am I doing? This is way too short. But for me, Loguetown is so good because of all the setup that it has. Like, it sets up for so much in the later arcs. Some that pay off more in like Alabasta, which is the saga right after this, or more that really pay off like later on in the series, like a couple 100 chapters later on. So it's just seeing all of it after this being like well, I guess after going back and reading this, or not reading, watching it, it's just really cool to see like, all right, yeah, this was thought about like a lot. This has a lot of planning going to it, so it was really cool. And then there's Reverse Mountain, which is just them basically getting to the Grand Line. Honestly, I Reverse Something might have a special place in my heart because of them saying their vows and all that, or not vows, more like promises and goals. They'll be like, all right, I want to become the Pirate King. I want to become the greatest navigator. I want to become the greatest swordsman. I want to see the all blue, and I want to become a warrior, like the Elfpath Giants. So it's just like it's cool. It's always gonna be cool for me. And then after that, that's when we get into Alabaster. So I'm not gonna be talking about that today. But for me, Romance Dawn, I mean, like it does its job, introducing the characters, what the show. I guess not what the show's about, but more like what they're about. Oh, jeez, my bad. I just had a crazy brain fart. Oh my gosh. But yeah, introducing about like, all right, what these characters want. Like their goals are simple. One of them wants to become a master swordsman, which is Zoro. One of them wants to see the all blue, which is Sanji, and one of them wants to become the Pirate King, which is Luffy. Which, you know, pretty simple, like, or pretty simple goals to say, but really hard to execute, considering that this is a world filled with pirates. So you know, everybody's gonna be gunning for something, and most of the time, those desires are gonna coincide with yours, whether it's gonna lead to an alliance or actual death. But anyways, yeah, the goals are simple, and I like that because even though they're simple, they're still complex in the way of getting there. So it really is more like, all right, the journey instead of the goal, because the journey definitely builds up the goal a lot more. Because look at how far the show is now. It's almost at 1,000 episodes and over 1,000 chapters. Like, if it's still going on for that long, you probably assume that either they haven't gotten the goal or there's something happening. Like, so it just like, I guess it, for me at least, even though it seems like meandering, the way I saw it unfold when I watched all those episodes after this arc, like to me it makes sense. Like I'm happy with the way that Oda's doing it. I like to say that like I'm some type of writer. Oh, I'm trash, yeah. But yeah, the goals for the characters are lit, and then there's the characters themselves. For me, Sanji's always gonna be my favorite character, even though the perf stuff is kind of weird, and sometimes it's just like, all right, come on. With later on, like an example in Thriller Bark, but to me, that's always gonna be overshadowed, or I can at least like put that aside when his character moments come in. And I just want to say this right now, Zoro or Sanji and all that, I like both of them. I just prefer Sanji more. Zoro's sick. Like in the pre-time skip, he's fired. He's lit. In the post-time skip, I'll talk about that later. But for me, Sanji just stayed consistent. You know, to me, he's fire. Like he's not as strong as Zoro, or at least I don't think he is now. But he's definitely lit. Like the story that I would want from Zoro, I get in Sanji. You know, and I like his character. I just think he's cool, and because his English dub is what's it called? Eric Vale, I think that's his name, the voice actor for Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. So that's already like 10,000 brownie points from me. And oh, I'll write that later. Make it a door. Then there's Zoro himself, the vice captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. Which honestly, I think in the pre-time skip, he's great. He's a really sick character. The struggle of being a swordsman or wanting to be the master swordsman, but there being so many good swordsmen in the East Blue alone. Like some villains in the East Blue might be forgettable because some of them really are, but him struggling to beat some of them and then getting that drive to push further and become better and better as a swordsman to really it kind of captivates me. Like, all right, I'm interested. This dude, he clearly has the drive and the passion to do his goals. So I wonder how it's gonna pan out. Like at the end, is he gonna do it? So he's really cool to me. And then there's Nami, which to me at first she was just like, all right, she's a girl. She's a girl character that was introduced in the buggy stuff. She didn't really have much of a story. She's just, all right, she's a navigator. But she wasn't really a part of the crew until the Arlong stuff, where we learn all of her story with Bellamere and her sister, and I think Orangetown. I don't remember the name of her village, but that story, honestly, it was pretty cool. Like the oh, I guess iconic, not really famous, but the iconic moment where Luffy puts his hat on her when she's stabbing the tattoo of Arlong on her arm. It's always gonna be memorable for me, even if it's not like, alright, Arlong isn't my favorite villain, nor is it my favorite arc, but it's always gonna be important. One Piece always has like those important moments in an arc that's always just gonna stick out to you, you know? And that's it for me. That and Luffy beating up Arlong, Usopp beating that fish man somehow. And oh, actually, Usopp in general, like at the end where he joins the crew, that's always gonna be memorable. Oh no, wait, what am I talking about? That what am I talking about? That's not Arlong Park at all. Alright, forget about that. So Nami stabbing her arm and Luffy helping her. Luffy beating Arlong. Usopp beating that fish man. Hachi. Hachi versus Zoro is important for many, many, many reasons that I can't talk about today because that's way later. But that was also great. And it was just good, man. I really enjoyed it. Or not as much as Baratie, but yeah, I enjoyed Arlong Park for what it was. And then there's Usopp with the probably like my least favorite arc in Romance Dawn. I forgot the name of his island. Oh no, I'm so bad. One thing you guys are probably gonna notice is that I'm terrible at remembering things, like remembering names. So if I forget, like, oh, this is the name of the island, then I apologize, but you're gonna have to bear with me. So Usopp and his arc. For me, in the beginning, it was like, all right, you have Kaya, you have Usopp, the liar, the notorious liar, the fable, the god, the king, the liar. You have him, and then you have Captain Kuro, which is the main antagonist for this. And for me, he was kind of like a weak villain, honestly. I wasn't really, like, his motivations were like, oh, alright, he just wants to live a peaceful life. But because he was a pirate for so long, he had to kind of like erase his identity and die at sea, quote unquote. And him becoming Kaya's butler and all that. I gotta get rid of those things. Him becoming Kaya's butler and all that kind of led to that, to helping him become one with himself. But he was still a pirate at heart. So him wanting Kaya's fortune and all that, since she's sick, made sense. It's just, for me, it was just boring compared to Arlong and Don Krieg. But yeah, Usopp stuff, like the fights were cool. Usopp himself, he's one of my favorite characters, even though he's like the scaredy cat wuss who pulls through at the end. I'm always gonna think Usopp's cool because he's, I guess, it's not like a character arc that I haven't seen before, but it's more like, oh yeah, it's Usopp. When I think of the character, or not character arc, character traits, I will always think of Usopp. Of like being scared, but being courageous and wanting to do good. I'm always gonna think of him because that's like kind of like the first time I seen it was a One Piece, but it was the best or the most well done, I guess, after I saw him. So I'm always gonna enjoy Usopp, but his arc, meh. Kaya was great though; she's lit. But then we have Baratie, which honestly I love. I love so much. Like Sanji's introduction was so good that he's like, there's no shit's given cook that won't take any shit from anybody. But it's not just him, it's literally the entire the entire establishment is like that, so it's lit to me. But what's it called? Don Krieg, like he's not really too involved with what's going on in Baratie because he just shows up, you know, like it's just so happens that he shows up at Baratie. But I like it, honestly. I really like the way that he showed up because it shows like not everybody can go to the Grand Line, you know, because he just came back from it and he was dealing with Mihawk, the strongest swordsman in the world, who's also a warlord. And it shows like, alright, yeah, this dude got clapped up, but he's clapping us up. Like, how strong is Mihawk? And I completely forgot to mention Luffy. Oh my goodness. I'll talk about him in a second after I finish this, but In short, Luffy wants to recruit Sanji to become his cook since he already has Zoro, who's his vice captain, Nami, who's the navigator, and Usopp, who's like, right now he's utility, but he's also a sniper. That's how I always seen him. He does, in the early chapters, he does everything for the crew, not except cook and navigate. He can steer, he can fix the ship, he can do a lot with the weapons and armaments. No, not artillery either. Just weaponry. So he's kind of that position in the beginning, but Luffy wants Sanji to be the cook and all that. Sanji refuses because this is his home and he owes it to I forgot his name. Oh my goodness, Sanji's pseudo dad who helped him at sea. And his backstory is pretty cool, and I don't want to spoil what happens way later on and later arcs, but how they added on to that story in Baratie is really sick to me. And yeah, his pops, really forgot his name. I can't believe this. Chef Zeph, there you go. Chef Zeph. He's a cool character. I really like him because he's also no shit's given, so you can tell where Sanji gets it from. And Sanji's main character trait, which is kind of divisive and sometimes and other times not really, but this is so ugly. Oh my gosh. What am I doing? I'm a goon. Alright. So let me get rid of this first, because this is trash. Alright. But yeah, anyway, so Sanji's main trait, he loves women. Like, he loves females. He's not like, pervy, but he's more like a gentleman, you know? He loves females, and he will show his bias for females when he's in front of other men wholeheartedly. So it can be annoying sometimes, but other times it's just like, oh yeah, it's Sanji, yeah, it's Sanji, but it's whatever. And then Don Krieg and his, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible at names, but Don Krieg shows up. He's starving. Sanji and everybody feeds him, even though they're pirates, like they're horrendous, horrible pirates. And it's just like, it goes to show, like, all right, I'm never gonna let somebody starve in front of me ever, at all. If somebody's hungry, they will eat in front of me. Because of his backstory, which I'm not really gonna go into because it's a lot, but basically, in short, Sanji was on a boat with a bunch of other chefs, or at least this is what you need to know so far. Sanji was on a boat with a bunch of other chefs when he was a kid, and some pirates came by, but it was a storm. And while the pirates were trying to kind of raid the ship, the storm kind of shipwrecked both of them. And Chef Zeph was on the pirate ship. They both end up on an island when the storm is done, and they have some rations. Sanji wakes up and he sees Chef Zeph. Zeph gives him his rations. He's like, alright, you can go to the other side of the island and don't talk to me. And Sanji notices that he has a big bag of just like huge rations, and he's like, oh, alright, I see how it is, old man. Fine, I don't need you. I'll survive myself. And then Sanji's on the other island rationing out his food. He's like, alright, if I do this and this, I'll have enough food for 20 days. Surely help will come by in that time, right? 70 days later and nobody comes by. My dude is struggling. Like, it is bad. And so he's like, alright, I'm gonna kill the old man. I'm done. He has way too much food. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Oh jeez. I feel so bad for the people watching this because they just have to watch me be a complete buffoon and be terrible at multitasking. Like, it's so bad. Alright. But yeah, Sanji's like, alright, I'm gonna go kill the old man. He has way too much food for his own good. He's not sharing. This is my time. He goes over to Chef Zeph. He's about to kill him, or sneak up on him and try to kill him. But he notices, oh, well, actually no. On second hat, jeez, I can't speak. On second thought, let me rephrase that. He goes over to the bag with all the rations, and it's still as full as it was the first day, right? So he scratches the bag open, and he notices there's no food in there at all. It's just treasure. And then he goes over to look at Zeph, and this dude is skinnier than Sanji is. So it shows. Oh my gosh, it it shows like, all right, this dude hasn't had anything to eat in 70 days. You had 20 days worth of food. How you gonna feel about that? How you feeling, my G? And so he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I owe you my life. Oh, I swear. Oh, will we survive this? I'll work for you forever, type me. And she's like, oh, all right, Sanji, you're the man of the people, yeah, yeah. So ever since then, Sanji's always been in deep debt to him, like personal, like I will forever be indebted to this man. Because A, he lost his arm, well, not arm, leg for him. I forgot to mention that when the shipwreck happened. A, he lost his arm for him, and B, he almost died trying to save him, you know? So, it's like, alright, yeah, I'm indebted to you, I'm sorry. And so, when Don Krieg and all his henchmen show up to try and destroy Baratie, it's just like, oh, alright, yeah, this is over. I'm beating you up. Sanji gets beat up. Trying to fight the Don Krieg's second in command. I think I forgot his name completely. I'm so sorry. Fighting his second in command, and what's it called? He's fighting the second in command while Luffy's fighting Don Krieg. Luffy beats up Don Krieg, and then Mihawk shows up. Well, during that fight, Mihawk shows up. It was almost like, oh, you're the legendary swordsman. Let me fight you, my G. And he's like, all right, bet. Let me put out my little 1-inch blade and piece you up real quick. Zoro gets pieced up real quick, and then he lays down on the floor, wounded like crazy, like actually got murked up. And he's like, I swear to you, Luffy, I will be the greatest swordsman ever, and I will never lose a fight again. And he was like, alright, cool. And he never lost a fight again. And so that happens. Luffy beats up Don Krieg. Nami, during all of this, takes the Going Merry, which is the ship that all of them got from Kaya after Usopp's arc, and she kind of leaves to go back to Arlong because she needs to go back there, like I said, because of her village situation. Arlong is a fishman, which is a race in One Piece. There's just a bunch of races in One Piece. It's crazy. Who has control over her town. He came over, beat all of them up, killed Nami's adopted mom, I think? No. Yeah, adopted mom, yeah. And Nami, as a way to, like, keep everybody alive, she started working for Arlong to get him enough money to buy off the town. Oh, and baratie is done, by the way. After Don Krieg falls, they all go to find Nami and get their ship back and try to help her out, see why she left. And so all that is happening. They get to Arlong Park. Nami's like, please, just leave. Like, you need to leave. I'm not a part of your crew. I need to do this for me, myself, and my people. And Luffy stays because, you know, Kind-hearted MC does what Kind-hearted MC does. And this shit is trash. This is terrible. All I'm good at is doing these, bro. That's terrible. Alright, but yeah, Usopp, Zoro, Sanji basically find out, like, alright, yeah, she's not doing this because she wants to hurt you guys. They found out her motivations, like I said, trying to free her town. Her only Nami's sister and one of the Bellemere's friends, which is Nami's dad, or not dad, mom, tells them, and it's like, alright, bet, let's help her out. But Luffy finds out when Nami's stabbing herself in the arm, when she finds out that Arlong isn't going to free them, after her trying to raise up over 100 million berries, and her being close to doing it. Arlong was never going to free her in the first place, right? And so she's over here like, alright, I'm done, dog. I'm just going to kill myself. Like, it's over. I'm gone. Yeah, have a good life. And she's just over here dejected in the middle of the road, and Luffy's like, let me help you. Like, come on, yeah. And she's like, please, just leave. And then, you know, at the drop of a hat, she's like, please help me. I'm begging you. And then, you know, Luffy, like I said, the iconic scene, puts his hat on her, goes to beat up Arlong, and then the boys are with him. They beat up Arlong and his crew with Hachi. He's great. But they beat him up, they free the town, they're remembered as those people and Nami's friends, and they leave. Then they go to Log Town, iconic place. A bunch of people show up, like Luffy's dad, Smoke, or Captain Smoker from the Marines and all that. Um, who else shows up? Buggy. Buggy shows up again with Alvida this time, which was the person that had Kobe captive. Oh, and I I already explained like most of the story at this point. I guess I might as well just do that. But it's just so disjointed, it's crazy. But I'm gonna just keep going. So, um, they're there. They're gonna execute Luffy on the same spot that Gold Roger got executed. He lives through some sheer luck, amazing luck, and they escape with the skin of their teeth, since it's an all-out brawl, basically, since the Marines are there, Buggy's there, and Luffy just has 5 people in his crew. He's gonna get pieced up. The only way he does escape is because of Dragon, Monkey D. Dragon, which is Luffy's dad. Which is cool, the way to introduce him so early in the game, since we don't even know the rest of his family at this point. Which is lit. And then Reverse Mountain, which is just basically them going over to the Grand Line through a mountain. They climb up the mountain with their ship, and then they're at the Grand Line. Cool. What happened with Zoro's story? He was captured by Axam Morgan and his son Helmeppo. Helmeppo's about to execute him. Luffy and Kobe help him out because they see that he's actually a good guy, and they know like he's renowned as a pirate hunter. And oh jeez, my bad. They free him. They beat up Axam Morgan. Helmeppo, you know, shithead of a son, I guess, best way to describe it. Him and Kobe stay here, and yeah, that's how they leave Kobe behind. That's basically Zoro's thing. It's not too crazy, but he's a cool character, so it's whatever. Oh my gosh, I'm so terrible at multitasking. But yeah, that's basically all the stories about the characters, their motivations, who I like the most. Well, I guess my tier list would probably be like Sanji, Luffy, Usopp, Zoro, Nami. Not as like, oh, these are the best to worst. It's more like the bottom is eh. Well, not eh, but good. Well, the top is great. I think they're great. And Romance Dawn, like I said, it does what it does. It's introduction, or an intro. How do I say that word? Oh, whatever. It's an introduction to the series, and it does its job well. And the anime is like 60 episodes, so it's a lot of content, but it's good content, and it's definitely something that you need to watch before you go into the next arcs and all that. And then next after that is Alabasta, which is one of the best arcs of the pre-time skip for many reasons. And in the next video, I'll be talking about that. And hopefully I won't be so scatterbrained and just build one thing like I did the last time. This just wasn't a shitty brick house, it's just a shitty soup kitchen. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is me talking about One Piece.